It's better to be a fake somebody than a real nobody. This video is about Positano, the talented Mr Ripley, and how the book, and in particular the film, deals with Italy and the Italians. The Talented Mr Ripley is the story of the imposter, Tom Ripley, and how he takes the place of the rich and charismatic Dickie Greenleaf, who he first meets on the beach in Positano. It was made into a film in 1999 with Matt Damon and Jude Law, although the book by Patricia Highsmith was published in 1955. Positano, not far from Naples, Pompeii and the island of Capri, has been a holiday resort since Roman times. It's not exactly in the shadow of Vesuvius, but there's something volcanic about it, whether the steep cliffs, the black sand on the beaches, or the Lacrima Christi wines from the vineyards on the slopes of Vesuvius. Positano was a prosperous part of the little-known maritime Amalfi Republic in medieval times, but it couldn't compete with the other Italian maritime states of Genoa and Venice. And by the time of Italian unification in the 1860s, it was a simple fishing village. American author John Steinbeck wrote in the early 50s that Positano is never likely to attract the organdy and white linen tourist. It would be impossible to dress as a languid tourist lady and climb the Positano stairs for a cocktail. He turned out to be wrong, as it all changed in the Italian boom years of the 1960s. Positano flourished as a picturesque destination for both Italian and overseas visitors. Patricia Highsmith herself, Franco Zeffirelli, Freddie Mercury, all regularly came here. It was in 1952 that Patricia Highsmith stood on the balcony of the Miramare Hotel and saw a solitary, pensive young man walking on the beach with his towel over his shoulder, and conceived the character of Tom Ripley, and the place known in the book as Mongibello, but we know from her diaries is really Positano. I like the film, but think that may be because it shows such an idealised view of Italy, with its beautiful people, sunshine, hot-headed but handsome young men, old women dressed in black, religious processions, and lots of coffee. In fact, to present that view, Anthony Minghella didn't film Mongibello in Positano, as modern developments meant it didn't look right, and nowadays you have to go to islands like Ischia to get the old Positano feel. As an Anglo-Italian himself, I'm not surprised that Minghella fell for the old Italian charm, which is so alluring, but you don't get that in the book, which is probably much more realistic, with Ripley's constant and rather charmless struggles with the police and bureaucracy. If I think about it, I actually find the book and the film treat Italy and the Italians as just a backdrop. There aren't really any major Italian characters, or any real attempt to connect it to its location. In fact, one of the key scenes in the film is not in the book at all, but is squarely taken from Positano, and its miracle of the Black Madonna, found in the sea, which is a real story, if you know what I mean. It's said the icon of the Black Madonna had been stolen from Constantinople and was being transported by pirates when a miracle resulted in it being put ashore in Positano, where it's remained ever since in the 12th century church. Am I the only person who finds this a cliched and stereotyped view of Italy? Anyway, back to Positano and the Black Madonna on the pirate ship. According to the information board at the church, the pirates were becalmed, and the Madonna said, "Posa, posa," which means put me down or ashore, so they duly obliged, although Wikipedia talks of a storm. The Madonna's words, "Posa, posa," may also be the origin of the name Positano, although no one seems to know for sure. As for Positano today, it remains a lively little town, perched on the cliffs with a couple of small beaches. Despite its small size, it has 9 churches, numerous hotels and restaurants, some fancy shops, and even a heliport. I got a sense that it was mainly popular with foreign tourists, especially Americans and Italians of a certain age and wealth, so not really representative of the surrounding area. I found the place slightly sad, although that may have just been because of the greyish autumn weather, or the woman sitting by herself on one of the black volcanic beaches with her head in her hands looking very melancholy. Despite all that, there are still some fishing boats, and I did see fresh fish being proudly carried through the streets to the restaurants, probably with as much pride as the Black Madonna was in the original story, and the people serving you probably do live in Positano, which is a proper little town with a community. It's essentially a vertical town, and the numerous steps are as formidable as John Steinbeck said, although its relative inaccessibility has probably protected Positano from really serious overexploitation. Even getting there is a challenge, with its narrow hairpin road hugging the coastline, with steep drops on one side and, of course, roadside shrines to the victims of accidents. But the biggest protection for Positano is probably the difficulty and cost of finding a parking space, surely the modern-day equivalent of the rocky coastline and dangerous currents of before. I hope you enjoyed this personal journey from Positano and will get a chance to see it either for yourself or through the Talented Mr Ripley. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe and give it a thumbs up, as there'll be more along similar lines shortly. Thank you for watching.